What is up? I got something I definitely want to bring to your attention. What's going on right now with China? They're having a mortgage crisis, which is pretty impactful throughout the world. If you remember from 2008, I was not into the financial world as much as I am now. What happened was there was a lot of lending that was happening where people weren't getting verified if they could actually afford in a particular place. So that's in the US. So mortgage banks were just giving out loans left and right without actually doing the vetting process to see if the person actually qualifies for it. And then what happened? You got a home and you couldn't pay off that debt. And over time, it's just bubble of debt that piled up. And then boom, it bursted. And the whole world felt it, right? The US is definitely the leading country. They have a currency that's strong. A lot of companies depend on it. A lot of other countries depend on the strength of the US dollar. They're banking on that. However, for us to be able to recover from that, there was a lot of hurt that had to happen. Recession had to happen. Stocks had to drop. The whole world felt it. And China right now is going through something similar. And let's get into this article actually that I looked over from China. It is about a couple weeks old. However, I think it's still relevant to what's going on because they have not gotten themselves out of this hot water situation right now. Hustle, 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 step. Move, then make it back. First we gotta hustle, hustle, so we get the cash. This is in particular to this woman. Her name is Yang Huyan. I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly, right? Pretty much it states that she lost over half of her $24 billion fortune in the past year. That is insane. Like 12 billion out of your fortune just gone and disappear like that, right? And it says right here, she was one of the world's top 500 richest people. She lost 12 billion and she now has a net worth of approximately 11 billion. I mean, she's still good. At the end of the day, it's like from 24 billion to 11 billion, you're still a billionaire. Like you still have plenty of money for your super great grandkids to just like live off of. However, it is something that's worth noting and seeing the impact of it. I'm gonna skip this part where it talks about all of this. Pretty much, she inherited her wealth from her father. Blah blah blah. So this is where it talks about the crisis. It was heightened by thousands of frustrated homebuyers who have threatened to stop paying mortgages for their incomplete homes due to construction delays. So the thing with China, what I've learned is that construction would happen. A person would take a loan and the mortgage would actually be like paid from the bank for the loan. So the person is like tied into the agreement. So it's similar to buying a house here. The only difference is you can buy the house before it's completed. It's a risky situation because if the house is not completed, you have no estimated time of when it's going to be completed. You can't quite do anything in there, right? You might be renting somewhere and on top of that, you got to be paying a mortgage. But it seems like China had this policy that allowed for that, which is now we're seeing the effect of it. It's not so good. If you're paying for this mortgage and you have another home payment, because you have to have somewhere else to live and the house is not ready. And especially if you're an investor that's looking to make real estate a rental investment situation for you, you need the actual rental income to sustain to be able to do all that stuff. So they got fed up. They got frustrated. This talks about the shares of the company dropping by so much, which is the impact of that. I definitely want to bring this to your attention because you might think that this is only going on in a part of the world. And this is not even going on in all of China. It's only part of China. I don't remember which exactly segment. However, it is part that's affecting the banks over there because these are billions of dollars that we're talking about. It's not like it's a couple of million. If it was, it would have been tiny, but these are billions that are being impacted. So you definitely want to pay attention to that in regards to how that can impact us right here in the US. For me, what this means that this is a sign where, yes, it might create an effect, but it might not happen right away. It's not going to be something that happens right away. Just like the 2008 crisis, we see that homes actually prices dropped not until about 2012 to its lowest, right? It took years and years to happen. The real estate market effect takes a little longer than typically stocks, but then stocks rebound quicker as well. So you definitely want to pay attention to this and see how this is impacting us as much as you can. Right now, it's not showing as much presence inside of the media, inside of the news, but you don't want to be too late. You don't want to now figure this out like 6 months, a year later. This actually started happening since last year. I'm actually now finding about this now, and I feel that I'm a little bit too late on the whole situation, right? People stop paying their mortgage. It creates debts. So then when banks cannot pay debts, you have countries that are now going to try to inject money into those banks to help them get back on their feet, which creates even more inflation, because I think that's what China said they're going to do. Last year, they said they were not going to be doing any type of bailouts, but this year they say they are going to try to do that, which is another sign of what just happened for us, right? A lot of money printing that happened last year, it created this recession where the prices of a lot of consumer goods, the groceries just went up because there's a lot of money that was printed false, created in this false like index and valuation of the dollar that is not true. So in order to compensate for that, things get more expensive. You got to think about it like this. So right now, if I have $1 and it gets me an orange, right? And this is all I have. But for some reason, I artificially create $2 out of that dollar, right? It's not a $2 value. Because of the trade barter system that has to happen, the $2 value should still be able to buy me that same thing of orange. And that's why we're seeing things go up. It's not that the price of the orange actually went up, but because there was this artificial printing of money, it created this effect of inflation. So this is where it becomes problematic. If your wages and salaries are not going up, right? If wages and salaries are staying the same, now, even though this artificial value of the dollar now is actually worth half, meaning it takes $2 to make one, wages are not keeping up with that. Like wages are not doubling, and it creates a much more dramatic effect on the economy over time. And we're seeing companies doing this whole reciting offers, laying off, and all these things happening because they're scared, they're panicking and everything, and they still got plenty of money, but they're preparing for the worst that happens. You want to pay attention to these things. But I just wanted to make you aware of the situation that's going in China, because what that may end up happening is it might create a bank issue effect down the line for us eventually around the economy, because a lot of things are made in China. If their economy gets impacted, it might cause impact for a lot of import exports. We actually do a lot more importing in China. We grab a lot of things for them. So it might make it more expensive for us to take stuff and resources from their country, which then creates another effect on other countries. Now, since we got to pay more for their supplies, right, and we can't afford it, it creates another problem for us here. There's going to be shortages of stuff, and that's why we're seeing like gas prices going up, groceries going up, because there's shortages of stuff that's happening, and there's also an inflation going on. All these things that are happening together is what's going to create like this very bad negative effect over time, and definitely be prepared for that. This is just a signal. It doesn't mean anything immediately. It's just something that you should put in the back of your head, in the back burner, that it is something that actually is a small signal. It's not a super strong signal, but it is a small signal that we might potentially go through like another housing crisis or situation that may happen and impact us some way, shape, or however it is. China is facing what we went through in 2008 when it comes to the homes right now. Like home prices have definitely dropped by quite a bit. The people are not paying their mortgages. So definitely pay attention to this. If you see anything about the news going around this, don't just ignore it. Just kind of see what it is that's going on and try to see how it's impacting the country itself, because that might create an effect for us down the line. If you found this to be insightful, please share, subscribe, drop a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. And if you have anything else to share, definitely please do so. I'd love to hear a bit more about it. And if you have any insights on what's going on over there as well, because the government over there, I think they're called the CCP, they block a lot of things from coming out into the media. So if you have some insights that you end up finding out, definitely please share. I'd love to know about it. Peace, and I'll see y'all next time. And remember, stay hustling and stay strong so we can build out for tomorrow. Peace.